Here comes Jerry. We'll give just a second. So she sits on. All right. Meredith, roll call. You have everybody accounted for? Excellent. We do have a quorum. In front of you, you have an agenda. Is there any additions that would need to be made for this agenda? If not, I'll entertain a motion to accept the agenda as presented.
So moves.
Support.
There's been a motion and support. Any further discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. We have an agenda. Also in your package, you received the minutes from our December 14th meeting. Is there any corrections, additions, deletions that need to be made? If not, there's been a motion to approve the minutes.
Who was it?
Margaret,
Thank you.
Second.
second by Devaney. Any further discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. The minutes are now in the record. All right, now I want to introduce our new board members, and I'm also going to have everybody give a little bit about themselves so that they can get to know us. With us today, we have Joshua Roth. He is the owner of Musgroves and Adrian and Tecumseh, and probably some other ventures that he is involved in. He's going to be a great leader, and welcome. So this is Josh. Also, we have Tara Kumadoris. Did I do it right? That was great. She owns Ghidras, and she's also a strong business person with lots of skills to bring to us, just like Josh. It's going to be good. And we also have Darcy Gifford. And she is the Assistant Vice President for Marketing Communications at Eastern Michigan University. So we all had interviews. If you guys, I'm going to start over here with Jerry. I'm going to have her introduce herself and what her affiliations are, and we'll work around the table here.
Okay, I'm Jerry Ryder. I'm the Artistic Director at the Crossville Opera House. Meredith Elliott. I've been on this board for about 4 years, and I work at. I guess that's it. Braesway. I work at Braesway.
I'm Devaney Rosebrock. I am co-owner of the Buzz Cafe and Marketplace, and my day job is a fundraiser at the University of Michigan.
My name is Joshua Roth. I own Musgrove and Company at 110 West Maumee. I'm looking forward to being part of the board.
I'm Brad Maggard, own Maggard Razors in downtown, live downtown, above the store there, and treasurer, DDA, and I've been here too long.
David Thomas, I'm the owner operator of Culver's of Adrian. Been on the board since 2018, and I am co-chair.
I'm Dusty Steele. I own HB Steele Interactive Financial Planning, involved in a number of things in the community, current chair of the DDA and been on it since 2018 as well. So, well, thank you.
Jay Marks, Executive Director of Main Street DDA. I've been here since approaching a year, 9 months, I think I'm at already. Time flies.
I'm Angie Heath, Mayor of the City of Adrian, and I've been here since December of 2019.
Darcy Gifford. I've lived in Adrian for 30 years, and as Jay said, Dusty said, I've worked at Eastern Michigan for the last 15 years, currently doing marketing and communications, and it's really excited to get involved with this group and be here today.
I'm Tara Kumandoris. You did pronounce it right. Thank you. Like he said, I own Ghidras across the street. I also bought the building that it's in, so a piece of the historic landmark downtown. And I'm also a pharmacist. That's my other alter ego. I have a doctorate in pharmacy. And yeah, I'm just excited to be here.
Turn that one off then.
Jeff Rising, broker and owner at Remax Main Street Realty right here downtown. And we also own the building that our office is in. I've been on the board here for 6 months, I think, less than a year.
I'm Cole Bobian. I'm a student advisor on behalf of Adrian College down here. And I've been here, I believe, a little over a year
Yeah, I
now
think
this
so.
time. So.
Mark Murray, you there?
I am. Morning, everybody.
Oh, he's not on the board anymore. Sorry. I get so used to you were on the board for so long there, Mark. Sorry about that. My fault. And there's also Michael Orlando. He's a representative of Siena Heights University. We have Cole from Adrian College. They're both advisory members. They don't vote, but they give us lots of great information, that's for sure, and great additions to our board. So welcome, everyone, and thank you for being here.
We do have one board
Oops, I
member.
missed one other one.
Yep, Kevin Hyatt, he is Vice President of Planewave. If you're familiar with Planewave Industries, a telescope company out at the Adrian, former Adrian Training School.
Thanks. A good thing I got my helpers today. Moving along too quickly. All right. We'll move along to the Main Street Director's Report. Jay.
Okay, first thing we're going to start off with the marketing proposal I put together. If Michelle could pull that up for us. Give us just a minute here. We'll take a look at that. You can go ahead and go to the next slide. So this is a draft that I put together to kind of help guide us through the next year or two as we look at our opportunities. Overall general strategies to improve the marketing promotion of downtown while maintaining previous levels of support for First Fridays and other existing events. And then to develop and assist marketing and promotion of new partner events. And I'll discuss that a little bit further in another part in the meeting. So some desired goals and outcomes, obviously improve our brand recognition for downtown Adrian, improve the brand recognition of the Main Street DDA organization, improve communication with businesses, building owners, residents, general public, and improve the attendance at all of our events and our partnered events throughout the downtown. 5 ways I'm going to look at it: digital marketing, social media, traditional media, creative, and web and technical. I think that kind of covers all of our avenues. And as we go through those high level next, you'll see. So digital marketing, first thing I want to really focus on is newsletter. I know communication has been a struggle. As I'm learning the role and kind of what I should share and shouldn't share. So we're going to start with a quarterly distribution to all of our stakeholders, and then moving that to monthly. Probably do two quarterly to start, and then go monthly at the second half of the year. Content, really targeted towards our stakeholders, but we'll include the general public if they want to be a part of that as well. I've got a landing page designed that will go on Facebook, and we'll get some preliminary information from the individuals that sign up for that. We put some focus coming into the spring back onto the district app. Use that as a tool to leverage our current businesses, what they offer. Start focusing more outside of our retail and bar. Look at our services that we have downtown, and really utilizing that app for them. And also use our events that we have, both our sole events and our partnered events to really help with the app education for both our businesses and for the general public. Social media. So really looking at a couple different things here. Organic posts, really focusing, developing a calendar to get the algorithm moving, make sure they're targeted posts, create some evergreen content so we have it available and using it consistently. Look at paid advertising, determine the methodology we want to use for that paid advertising to see if it's really something that's beneficial for us. You can rack up a lot of dollars without a lot of outcome when you're using paid advertising on social media. And establish some rules revolved around that, whether or not that we're going to support partnered events throughout that process. National Main Street really emphasizes TikTok. Looking at that demographic, that 18 to 26, 18 to 30-year-old demographic. I'll be very honest with you. I've only started to learn about TikTok thanks to my 8th and 9th graders that I have. And it looks time consuming to create content, but they tell me it's not, so we'll see. But really to focus on that new demographic, you know, that we're all yearning for, that 18 to 26-year-old, how do we keep them engaged in the community? And that's some basic things, right? Develop a calendar for targeted posts and really creating content for that application. The next slide, please. Traditional media. So we have radio, and there'll be something later on in the meeting to discuss about maintaining from previous year. Events, you know, making sure that we have our tent there, a representative out there speaking about our event, about our organization at the partnered events and at our regular events. Digital displays, the new digital displays that are being installed. I think the rest of them are being installed today or tomorrow. I'm probably not that fast, but soon. And you know, depending on what's allowed by the commission, obviously the commission is going to make a determination on what that looks like, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. And then promotion of partnered events, also on those digital displays potentially, depending on the outcome of the city commission. Strategic partnerships, you know, do we have event sponsors, brand sponsors, project sponsors? Looking at all of those, and that kind of goes along with our fundraising as well, but making sure that we're really integrating our brand into what we want to do. The next slide, please. Creative. So branding. So Dusty and I have a meeting tomorrow with Michigan Main Street to talk about the service they're going to provide us for this year, which is branding. And how do we come out of that, and what does it look like? They'll work with us in creating some marketing tools that we can use, as well as looking at everything that we have available. Develop campaign strategies and goals. So budgets, overall plan for campaigns, how do they integrate within our events? Are we using our events just for community base, or are we trying to create a desired goal out of those and utilizing campaigns for that? And then photography and video content. One of the things that I've struggled a little bit with is I don't do a good job of taking photos at events because I'm usually doing something. And it's really important for us to have those photos and videos. So determine if we need to get, you know, to hire some professionals to get us photography and video, so we have content, so we can reinforce the brand and the image that we're trying to portray. And then the next slide, the last one is web and technical. Website. So there's some assistance available from Michigan Main Street to help with website development. Also looking at, I'm also doing a website analysis right now. Do we create something off of the city website? Do we look at outside offerings that are available? And so I'm putting that together, and hopefully I'll have something to present at the next meeting. Making sure that we're SEO, that, you know, that our, when you search for downtown Adrian or the DDA, that you can find us and we're the first hit. Talk about e-commerce, if we want to offer items for sale. And once we go through the branding process, we'll determine what those items might be. How do we collect for that? How do we get paid? And I think the most important thing really is data analysis and reporting. Are we getting the right information that we need? Content, execution, reporting, etc. Next slide, please. So next steps. Budget, right? We've got to make sure that we've got funds available this year, and as we go through the process of budgeting, which will start pretty soon, what does that look like for next year? And create a plan that's based on those available funds. I want to create a calendar for overall execution, plan by month. So each month we'll know what's happening, who we're focusing on, what our goals are, and then create some measurables, you know, event participation, you know, what percentage of our plan are we executing? Are we doing well or not doing well? Looking at our increases in social media, our audience, our impressions, and how many people are actually reading our emails. I think those are all key components to the plan. Can I explain anything better, or what questions might you have?
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Do you know what platform the website's on?
So right now, the city website, we don't have our own, we don't have a standalone right now.
Oh.
We're part of the city right now, and it's Revise.
Revise?
Yeah, it's a governmental institutional kind of platform.
So thank you, Jay. I really think he's given us a nice framework here to start working in more detail and more, specific actions as it relates to marketing. We talk about promotion quite often, but in marketing and promotion, they can be a little bit different at times, depending on what the actions are. So I think it's a great starting point. And so anybody that wants to be and provide input, you can always reach out to Jay and just say, hey, I'd really like to be involved in that, or I would like to take a part of that and be of help. So, Jay.
Yeah, thanks. The next thing I'd like to talk about is the impact report. This is, everyone has a copy at their seat and it was in the packet as well. This is a culmination of last year, right? So as we look through the event, let me make sure I got it's a 4-page document. I just gotta find my first page. So first page talks about on the left side, our blocks, acres, parcels, parking spaces, retail stores, restaurants. Don't get alarmed. We don't have 19 restaurants downtown. That includes bars as well. That's what they use in Main Street to do that. And we had a 7.8% increase in property values from 2021 to 2022. Next page, transforming downtown Adrian. As you can see there, just talks about the farmers market, the parklets and the new streetlights that are being installed. Talks about private investment, some improved the buildings and facades, new businesses that have come in, some community demographics. Talks about some of the things that we do to help businesses. And then if you look in the very bottom of that page, in-demand businesses, these are some things that I'm going to try to be focusing on for the remainder of the year. What did the public tell us? So if you remember, we had a survey back in July, and really it's what's the public telling us they want. I think that trying to bring those in or engage people for those types of businesses will really help move us to the next level. Next page, nice picture of the Christmas Riverwalk and Jeff Rising. We talk about the pulse of downtown, kind of why people visit, how often do they visit, talks a little bit about our social media, volunteer hours, everything from these meetings to the events that have taken place, and a little bit on our budgeting expenses. And then estimated attendance for the year, some pictures from other events, and then kind of what Michigan Main Street does, right? How they've impacted the total communities throughout the state. This is a compilation of things I report every month, things that came from surveys. So if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer those now if you have any thoughts. This is something that we'll also use for our advertising as our fundraising as we go through.
Did not include general information that we usually, thank you. It did not include general information that we usually don't promote, like the Croswell and some of the other things. Is there any particular reason why that's not included?
So this is really a template that comes from Michigan Main Street and part of the service that they provide us.
Okay.
And so it compiles all of that economic data and environment there.
So it's really not designed to promote the other kinds of things. It's just a general.
Correct.
Okay,
Yep.
because it didn't include right now, if a quick glance would look like it included some 31 storefronts as opposed to like we have businesses and other things down there too that aren't demonstrated that you wouldn't think are down there, but are. All right, okay. Just wondered why they weren't identified. All right, that makes sense to me.
Any other questions?
All right.
Okay, I'll keep moving.
Excellent.
Thank you.
It's excellent. Very.
The next thing on the agenda is the Main Street DDA email communications. So I've integrated all of the email addresses that I have from both Maestro and freestanding, I guess you would say, into MailChimp, and we'll be designing outgoing emails to come from MailChimp. I'm going to be creating a landing, like I said earlier, creating a landing page to go on social media to capture emails from the general public. And as I send those emails out, encourage our business owners, building owners, to share those with their residents and the general public as well. Delivery plan is first quarter, second quarter, and then build that up to monthly. And then I'm also going to focus back on weekly board updates. Was doing pretty well till we got to the month of December and it kind of fell apart. So I apologize for that, but I'll get back on the bus for us. Any questions about email and how that's going out? No? Okay, good. Event partnership process and worksheet. So if you've been paying attention, the city is re-engaged with the discussion of parades, events, street closures, et cetera. One of the things that I've been working on in the background and what I'd like to, I will send you a copy. I didn't include it in the packet because the packet was pretty large, but I'll send a copy to get some of your feedback. Is a worksheet to work with partnering events in the future. Right now it's pretty basic. It's 60 points. It's based on, do you follow the mission of the DDA? Do you follow our transformation strategy? Do you have a work plan? Do you have the funding available? Do you have a marketing plan, a plan to organize your volunteers? And you get so many points for that. Now we'd need to make it, my thought is we'd make a determination as to if you get enough points, then you'll be able to partner with the DDA. If you don't get enough points, then we'd want to work with you to rework your plan and figure out how to go from there. Along with that, there's a 63-page document that was just created by Michigan Main Street. That's really a plug-in document that walks you through setting up an event. Everything from what your goals are, your execution plan, a volunteer organization. It has best practices. It's a really nice thing. So I'll include that link in the email I send after the meeting to you. And the last part of that, I would like to share with these organizations what it is to build a work plan, right? How do you do that? How do you do the timing? Really help them to get on the right track to move forward with their events. And so as I continue to massage this and get feedback from you, I'd like to bring it back at some point so we can kind of make a firm recommendation to the city commission as they look to develop their street closure opportunities. Any questions about that?
So remember, we have a number of events that we bring and close the streets off for. And there's not a lot of negative feedback when the events are very successful, but we just need to make sure that we have an event that has the strength to pull it off and make sure that it's that our business owners, our building owners, and everybody feel good about the event and that it goes well. So he's just going to use that device for all of us to use, because really the DDA is now, I think the commission has made it clear that we are responsible for downtown events, downtown parades, downtown activities. So it's become more clear. So we're going to put a mechanism in place. So thank you, Jay.
Next thing on the agenda, digital banners. The commission's evaluating the impact of the banners and what types of information to be displayed. So I just wanted to make you aware of that. And if you'd like to see an example, in the room here on the left, just before you walk out, there is a digital banner in that room, so you can kind of see what it is. I will tell you, the farther you stand back, the more clear it gets. But take your time, take a look at it. It's surprisingly, it's pretty sharp.
And the spectrum there is, between themes for our downtown, events for our downtown, or advertising. We don't want to go into this today. They'll let the commission opine on it and see where their thoughts are on this. So there could be a wide range of uses for the digital banners.
Yep, so we'll have one at every access point into the city. So East Maumee and Broad, Church and South Main, Winter and West Maumee, and then Front and North Main. And then we'll have two at the Four Corners. There's also speakers. And if you look on the poles, you can see the speakers are installed, but they will be on two banners at the Four Corners and then go about a third of the way down each block to start. So we play Christmas music or all those things. We have a service that we go through for licensing and so. Awesome. Two things. So the next thing on the agenda, Grow with Google. We're going to have an opportunity to work with a Grow with Google coach. I had a preliminary meeting yesterday, but basically it sounds like it's going to be about a 3 to 4 hour workshop for any business, not just DDA businesses, but we will be will be part of the sponsorship of it. And it will bring in people to help you set up how to put you on a Google map, how to use Google Drive, and some high overviews of sheets and all of their different things. Some really low level SEO stuff. But they're looking at bringing in to the city of Adrian 3 times this summer, spring, summer, to bring that specialist in. They're going to provide lunch and some other things. So as I get more details, I'll be able to share that when it becomes a little more official. But I wanted to put that on there. And there's one last thing that I just got yesterday that's not on here. There's an opportunity called Optimize Main Street. And it is through Northern Initiatives. Northern Initiatives is a CDFI. So they help with some funding and growth opportunities throughout the state. Tim's very familiar with Northern Initiatives. What this does is it's an opportunity to support place-based businesses by providing some one-on-one coaching and educational resources on technology and digital tools, as well as funding to support implementation. So if you go through this program, they will provide up to $2,500 with technology and implementation. So it could be buying a POS, it could be software, it could be updating your website. So I'm going to put together, they've got an application and put together some information, send it out to our businesses. It's a very short window because they're getting ready to renew their contract with them. So we've only got about a week and a half to get businesses signed up for this. I think we're limited to one to 2 in our community, but I'm going to blast it out by the end of this week to get people, involved in their applications, and so I can apply for them.
Excellent.
All right, that's all I have. I'm winded.
Yeah. Any questions for Jay? Thank you for that report, Jay. Appreciate it. Now over to Brad, our finance report.
Yeah, so didn't have any major things come up in the last month. Pretty quiet on the spending front there, but I was doing a little bit of just numbers and stuff, and I didn't prepare anything on a document, but I'll just kind of verbally let everybody know where we're at. We are basically on track for maybe a $2,000 surplus by the end of the fiscal year. So skin of the teeth there. We knew taking on a new employee was gonna kind of burn through everything that we had, but definitely should be thinking about that when we're talking about new projects. We did start the fiscal year with $284,000 in the bank. So if we do run a small deficit this year, not a big deal, but we should definitely be focusing on fundraising in the near future. We only have about our lofty goal of 50,000. We're only at 12.5.
Greg's not listening, is he? No.
Yeah. And I believe more than half of that came from the Artilicious Fund raise that we did for that concert. So we're definitely spending what we're making.
So yeah, so we'll bring up fundraising, I think later on, is it in here? I have it later on, and so we'll address that and at that time. So so any questions for Brad, or any questions on the finance report? Not, I'll entertain a motion to accept the finance report as presented.
So moved.
Support.
There's been a motion and support. Is there further discussion? Dave? The support. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. Thank you, Brad. Greg?
So yeah, I was listening. Kind of jumping off of what both Jay and Brad have said, I wanted to recap what the city commission has talked about regarding downtown street closures. Our discussion is a broader one than just downtown streets, but that has particular immediacy for you. And so we haven't come to the finish line on our discussion of that policy yet, but kind of where we're at right now is that the 5 events that we did last year, which are Artilicious, First Fridays, Cinco de Mayo, Juneteenth, and Pride Fest, that we would like to continue those as downtown street closures going forward under the auspices of Main Street program, and with the approach that Jay identified of trying to make sure those events grow into something that the businesses on those blocks that are being closed find a benefit to them as well, although that's not the only reason to do them, of course. And then, as Jay talked about, going forward, you'll sort of be the gatekeepers as to when an event can close downtown streets based on a metric that you would work on and establish to make sure that those events are consistent with our values as a city and yours as Main Street organization. So that's all good stuff. You know, to Brad's point, though, there are costs associated with street closures, and we have to have a discussion about that. That's probably the greatest pushback that the commission has been getting related to both parades and street closures as well. You know, this cost is going to be a great burden for our event. I am here to tell you that the relative costs that we've or fees that we've proposed for those events, $650 for a 4-block closure downtown, $300 for a 1-block closure, $200 for a parade, are the bare, just scratching the surface of what the actual cost to the city of you know, facilitating those events is. And you know, and so as you think about your budget going forward, you know, the commission and the DDA have to come to a conclusion about who's going to bear those costs, because they're, you know, they're real, and can't close streets and have parades without a lot of city services associated with that. Likewise, the farmers market, again, you know, the city commission kind of jump-started that for 2022, paying for the market manager, almost called it market master, or market buddy, as I like to call it. You know, but going forward, we envision that being a DDA activity, and of course, Jay now stepping into his new role. We have to figure out who that's going to be going forward, and B, how that's going to be paid for. And you know, you're going to get into talking about your marketing program later on. I'll be listening to that here online as well. But you know, we have historically given you a lot of support with respect to marketing, advertising, and advertising sales, if you will, going out and finding those sponsorships and so on. And you know, it makes sense that you do that for yourselves going forward. And you know, and if there are sponsorships, you know, I can imagine that money should come to Main Street, but likewise, the sales effort has to be that of your organization going forward, and going out and making those sales to the businesses that do those sponsorships or have done those sponsorships. So that's kind of what I wanted to touch on today. Like I say, you guys already kind of stole some of my thunder in that regard, which is fine. Glad we're all thinking on the same page, but happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions for Greg? For our new ones, that's our city administrator, Greg Elliott, just in case no one didn't know.
On those topics or anything else, by the way, yeah, related to the city. Any questions?
Here's not. Thank you, Greg.
Okay, thanks.
Now we'll move into some board actions.
Okay, the first thing on is the Match on Main applicant approval. So it's recommendation of the executive director of Main Street DDA board authorizes the executive director to function as the applicant and local administrator for the Match on Main grant. So Match on Main grant will be opening again Monday, January 30th. The grant window closes February 24th. So for those of you that don't understand, for a quick reminder, we are the applicant. Everybody sends their stuff to us. We have a committee that decides, and then I have to enter that in before the window closes. So we'll actually require the the local applicants to have their applications in by February 17th. That'll give me a week to work with the committee and put that information in. Any questions? I guess you need a motion.
Yeah, I'll get a motion. So, and I just want to make mention that the Adrian Armory and Mark Murray in the kitchen was the last recipient of the match on Maine. So I'm going to congratulate him, and we're really proud. You know, we don't know who's going to win when we send them in, or if anybody's going to win. Sometimes they don't. None of our applicants make it. So really proud that we made one get through. So Jay, thank you for that. I want to go ahead and entertain a motion to give the executive director, authorize the executive director to function as the applicant and local administrator for the match on Main grant. Can I get a motion? There's been a motion. Is there support? There's support, Margaret. Any further discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. Thank you. Next.
The next action, as City Administrator Elliott so kindly reminded us, the City Commission has asked the DDA to take over the farmers market and the responsibilities of that. Along with that would be hiring an individual. So it's the recommendation of the Executive Director of the Main Street DDA Board approve up to a $10,000 contract to hire a farmers market manager. So a little bit about it. Last year, I served as that market manager. It requires about 20 hours a week of work, give or take. Majority of that spent on Saturday between setup, tear down, being active at the market. There's some small accounting that needs to take place now that we have SNAP benefits. We look to expand those benefits to be senior fresh, WIC programs, things like that that are available in the community. There'll be some other costs that will come out of it. There'll be some marketing that we'll need to look at as well. And just some other general management costs. Based on that $10,000, about 50% of the cost would be allocated to the budget first to this current budget year, and then the other 50% would hit next budget year. As far as dollars that were collected last year, about $1,500 in vendor fees were collected. We had a very nominal fee of $50 for the season to be part of the farmers market. And there was some sponsorship dollars required, about $500. The good side of it, we had about 4,700 visitors last year to the farmers market. We averaged 12 vendors a week. And we had 4 nonprofits that continued to participate throughout the year. I did see several of you there throughout the market season, so that was great to see. We averaged about 230 visitors a week, which far exceeded what they had done in the past. The challenge is the chicken and the egg theory. You know, I've talked to the Michigan Farmers Market Association, and the vendors don't come because the people aren't there, and the people don't come because the vendors aren't there, and they don't have a good solution. You know, it's really consistency, building on what you have, making sure people are aware of it. There's not a magic bullet. I think it's important as a Main Street organization in DDA that we have a farmers market in downtown. It's important to a certain demographic of our population to have access to healthy food that we don't have in this area. And so I think it's very important that we focus on those things and go from there. Thank you.
So we were aware of this. I think last year we knew that this was the plan, you know, that the DDA would take it up. I will say that there's a lot of discussion Jay and I have about that downtown asset, the pavilion itself and the farmers market itself, and the improvements that are coming along in that area. Jay, maybe you might make comment on what we're doing there.
Yeah, so if you're familiar with the pavilion, there's 2 sides to it. The east building and the west building is what I'll call them. The west building is having restrooms installed in it. They're about 30% complete, I would say. So all the rough plumbing's in, and they're getting ready to take that to the next level. I envision other things happening there. Obviously with the Croswell designing their parking lot, I think there's some opportunity to work with that, but I also would like to see some power go in there when we have along the west side for potential food truck hookups. So when we have events like the city band at the market, we can have food trucks come in without the noise of their generators. And the city band pulls 300-400 people easily. So I think that would be a great opportunity to display some things that we have available. I really see that space growing. becoming a destination for events. You know, I could see a great farm to table event going on out there. You know, the addition of the restrooms and then potentially adding some other things in the other building that could really make it a great catering place at some point.
I would like to make a motion to support that. With the hope and a prayer that it goes full. I would like to make the motion to support that with a hope and a prayer that it goes full force and effect. I think it needs somebody whose primary purpose is that. I think you did a wonderful job putting it out there, but I think it needs somebody who is really dedicated to that proposition. If the city's going to do it, they have to do it with full force and effect. That has to be somebody who that is their primary purpose to make it happen. We either have to put ourselves out there to make it happen so that not only we have the vendors, but we have to have the people excited about going there. The people who were there, the vendors really tried very hard to put their products out there for us. I was out there a number of times, but there's some tough competition out there with some history behind them. So we have to get our history started and get it moving. So I support it. And I would like to see that. And if that is behind your executive summary as well, if that can be part of my motion, I would like to promote that also in my motion.
So there's been a motion not only to recommend that the executive director of Main Street approve up to 10,000 contract to hire a farmers market manager, and with the spirit of all the things that are mentioned in the paragraph above. So there's been a motion. Is there support? Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. Thank you. Jay, forward.
Last thing I have is recommendation of the executive director. It's recommendation of the executive director that the downtown Adrian Main Street DDA partner with the city of Adrian enter into a radio advertising contract with WLEN. As we have in the past few years, we've had a contract with WLEN helping support First Fridays and other events. It does provide some of our remotes that we have throughout the year. This year's contract would be 4 live remotes. It would provide a total of 480 commercials, 240 on WLN, 240 on the Cave. And then it would allow for, some additional ones for a ladies' night and small business Saturday as well. The way that we've done it in the past is we partner with the city, split the cost, and then we solicit for businesses to sponsor the months for the First Friday, and they get mentions during that. I would look at that sponsorship to grow a little bit this year, depending on the outcome of city commission with the display boards, looking them to be a sponsor for First Friday on those display boards. Obviously, we'd promote them on social media as well and really move forward with those. That would require about an $800 outlay of money from our budget net if we charge $200 a month for those sponsorship opportunities. So and I think the money's in the budget now, right, Brad? Yeah.
Move to support.
There's been a motion to support. Motion. Can I get a motion of support? There's support from Meredith. So just real quick, we've done this a number of years. The city has used these commercials for city events, but 85% of the events happen in downtown. So they do a lot of promoting of downtown. So any questions? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. Thank you, Jay. All right, so here I want to introduce for our new members as well, Michelle Dewey, who's over there behind the curtain, handling all the technology. For all of us that are on the DDA, we know how much work Michelle does on behalf of our downtown. She is First Friday sort of chair, if you will, of the committee and keeps that well organized and has been really a major influence on making that a successful event over the last number of years and really grew it to this level. And so I, really, you'll find that Michelle, while not on the DDA, is really a part of our DDA so often, and we all know that at this table. So Michelle, you have a little recap for our First Fridays and what's happening?
Sure. For the purposes of the agenda, it says promotion committee, but we don't really have a promotions committee, but we do have a First Friday committee that we created recently to help with organizing those events because they've gotten so big. January, I was down there for just a little bit. Downtown seemed relatively busy for January first Friday. Normally it's really, really quiet. We had about 10 businesses participating. One of the things we came up with for upcoming events is for February, we're going to try something a little bit different. February's another quiet month typically. So we're going to try doing a polar plunge, so to speak. The theme is Maple Frost. And we've invited community members to participate, like the mayor. So the idea is each community member will, solicit donations. They have a goal of $500. If they reach their goal, then they take the plunge, which they're all going to take the plunge anyway, no matter how much money we raise. A few of these went out yesterday. The rest will go out tomorrow. So Dave Thomas, for example, will get his graphic today. The QR code on there on the flyer actually leads back to the downtown Main Street donation page. So we have it set up so that you can go on here and pick which person that you're making a donation on behalf of. They can also make checks payable to the city of Adrian. They can make cash donations at the teller windows. All these participants can take donations and drop them off at City Hall. And then when it's all said and done, half of the funds raised will go to future downtown events. So they'll go in the DDA Main Street account, and the other half will go to the organization of each person's choice. So the mayor has chosen Autism Grace of Lenawee. Each individual has chosen a different organization to raise funds for. So it's kind of a nice, community project and a fundraiser for our First Friday events, because we've started expending money on those events for bands and those types of things. And last year, I went out and got sponsors for bands, which is something, we'll have to figure out with Main Street this year, how we want to do that. But there are sponsors out there that want to sponsor these events. They want to be involved, especially outside businesses. They don't really have an avenue to participate in First Fridays. So they're asking, how can we participate? How can we be involved? We want to sponsor. So it's definitely something to start taking advantage of. And I really want to thank everybody that's on the First Friday committee. It's nice to have other people involved and contributing ideas and helping out. This idea was actually Commissioner Roberts' idea. So we kind of ran with it, but I'm really excited. I think it'll be a really good event and kind of pump up February 1st, Friday. Something to mention is we are going to close the streets for this event. There's actually going to be like an outdoor pool set up at the four corners for the plunge. So, we're hoping for a good crowd. But I think just for safety reasons in general, we really need to close the streets. So I don't anticipate businesses having an issue with that. I mean, this should generate a lot more business for February than they would normally get, but that's all I really have for right now.
Awesome. Dave, you could brag a little bit where you're at in the process.
I've already raised 1,200.
Yeah, I know. I was gonna say, do you think this is a contest? So that means you triple jump? I just want to point that out. I was gonna actually say that in a little bit because he thinks this is a contest that he's got to outraise everybody else.
I have a quick question. When you said it, the QR codes takes you to a page, right? Does it capture their demographic? Do they have to put a credit card in?
So it takes you to our Main Street donation page. And on that page, you can either use a credit card or you can use, I think you can also, you can also switch it and do like an ACH transaction. You can do either one.
Okay. Do we have a Venmo account?
No.
Yeah, because if I have to go to a page and fill out a paper and put in a credit card, I'm less likely to do it. But if I have a Venmo code, I'll be bam, and you've got it 10 seconds later.
Yeah, I was wondering that as well, because I've actually had people reach out already and ask me that exact question. I was just gonna have them Venmo me, and then I was gonna go in and put it in for them, but because I didn't know how else to do that, because I've already had that question.
Yeah, our finance department is not a fan of PayPal, Venmo, anything like that.
Yeah, because it charges fees when it's a business related one, rather than like they're gonna take a 1 to 3% depending on what, but
Well, so this.
you're more
the-
likely to get more.
Yeah, so they actually won't pay a fee on this. The city eats the fee if they use a card. But yeah, this is what we have. So like I said, you are welcome, or the participants are welcome to take donations on their own and then funnel them to the city. I mean, I would recommend using this, it's a form, but it really takes 2 seconds. So I don't know.
You can say something.
Yeah, the drawback to Venmo would be that it doesn't collect the demographics, like you're just getting a donation instantaneously.
I did forget to mention, we also have we're gonna do the first plunge will be at 5:30, which is the 11 people that are raising funds. And then we'll do a second plunge at 6:30, which is open to the public. So I have a pre-registration form. They can pre-register. They will have to sign a waiver. And it's a minimum $20 donation. And they will also have to prepay that either through this site or some other avenue. 5:30 and 6:30.
Michelle, is there a maximum or a minimum amount of people that you're allowed just to volunteer? Or
To do
to
the
register for
second
the,
It's tough because I don't know exactly how long it's gonna take. I mean, I don't probably want to get to more than, like, I would say, 20 or 30. I mean, but I guess I'm gonna start just seeing how many people start pre-registering. I mean, if I get like 20, right off the bat, then I'm probably gonna have to set a cap. That's a good question. I don't know.
okay. I guess my question next would be volunteers to help you with this. What are you anticipating for what you need for volunteers?
So luckily I've voluntold Matt that he's gonna help and he's happy to do that. So we'll probably have him, at least one other DPW employee. But yes, we will need volunteers. I mean, we're gonna have to set up the pool, we're gonna have to fill it with water, we're gonna have to take it down. Those are gonna be the big things, especially, weather dependent. If it's like this, it's gonna be pretty easy. If it's really icy, or if it's windy, if it's snowing, that's gonna make everything just much, much harder. So we will need some, I'll use the term manpower to help us with a lot of that.
Can we reach out to our friends at Adrian College and Sienna Heights and see if we can get some help?
That'd probably be a great idea.
How do you plan on transferring the water out of the pool?
So that's why we have DPW there with trucks and salt and all that fun stuff. We're gonna fill the pool with the fire hydrant that's right at the four corners. And then we're gonna drain it right there. We have a plan.
I'm down for some volunteers from Sienna, and I can personally help Dave get out of the pool if he needs it.
Okay. All right.
All right. Well, any other?
I just, Michelle, just send us a number of volunteers that you need, to help with this, so that way we can help rally some troops to support this event.
Excellent. A new one, so I forget what was February last year. What did we call it?
Yeah, it's normally sweethearts and chocolate. We normally just focus on, like a romantic Valentine Day.
Now we're just gonna freeze.
I'm gonna volunteer to sit by and make jokes. and Heckle.
Logistically, like, do all these participants bring their own towels? Do they?
Yeah, so on the pre-registration form, I didn't have it pulled up to show you guys, but I have it listed on there like a little bullet point of guidelines basically that they need to agree to. And I'm gonna let all the fundraisers know these as well, but in general, just they need to, bring a change of dry clothes, they need to bring a towel. They need to agree that they're not gonna, consume any alcohol or non-prescription drugs prior to. They're gonna have to sign a waiver that says if something happens, we're not liable. There's all kinds of fun stuff. Our attorney's working on a waiver for us.
Yeah, I don't know. Thank you. Is there like a method?
I just better have.
Yeah, we actually are gonna have an ambulance right there and a paramedic the whole time, just in case there is an incident.
I think it's a fabulous idea. I'm just thinking through the logistics.
The other thing that
I
we're
love
doing, we're gonna have a conversation again after the meeting is, we're looking at a heated tent so people can change and things there too, so.
Is Greg Elliott still listening?
Don't ask
I
Greg
am.
how he feels about this.
Yeah, don't ask me how I feel about the event.
My heart is with you, Mr. Elliott.
I just have a fun little, I think we're just on the tip of the iceberg of this event, because I think next year is gonna be amazing.
All right. I can see over here, Cole has some concerns. Commissioner Roberts, did you have something you'd like to say?
I just want to talk real quick about this event. So this event took place for about 7 years in Gaylord called Alpenfrost. And they had lots of participation. Most of the donations went to the United Way, I believe at the time. And we had it under our pavilion. We have a beautiful pavilion in Gaylord and it was wonderful. And they had really cute hats that you could buy and sweatshirts and t-shirts that said Alpenfrost, and there was like hot chocolate and all this, it was a lot of fun. So it's something, this is the first time we're going to try it, but I do believe that next year we could really build it up and have a lot more, a lot of other things that can go along with it. So it can be fun. Yeah.
I should also mention Jay's working on a plan to involve the businesses as well. So it won't be just this event happening at the Four Corners. I can't remember what we settled on, Jay, but that's probably going to go out this week with some type of participation, either a scavenger hunt or something like that to win a prize that will get people around to the businesses while they're downtown as well.
Didn't one year we have an outdoor skating rink downtown? That was cool. My kids liked that.
Festival group.
Yeah. It was.
Yeah,
They even played a hockey game on it.
yeah.
Some of it's, man, should say skating rink. We do have one. Not the city has one, I should say, but it has never gotten cold enough to make it sustainable to be active. We came, it's an idea that came out of Canada. It sounded great, but we're right on southern Michigan here. We don't seem to get long enough cold snaps to keep it in play. So it's been tough, but we have one. Any other comments on the event? Commissioner Roberts, thank you so much, and being on the fundraising, I'm sorry, the First Friday committee. So, thank you. Any other questions regarding that? Organization committee. We do have a pitch book that's 90% done now, and with this impact report, I think we can sit down. There's all kinds of fundraising you're gonna hear about, events, they're going great fundraising that we're talking about now. In different ways, but this is the sit down fundraising group where we sit down with our stakeholders and explain how effective we've been and how effective we expect to be in the future, and get commitments from them, maybe multi-year commitments and the like. It's an important part of the budget and the plan that we projected to the commission. As you heard today, I made a little joke about it, but we have not really, I haven't kickstarted it enough. We had early commitments when we were applying for Main Street, and it's just now I need to get this happening. So those that have been on the fundraising committee and those that would like to be on the fundraising committee, please reach out to me. We'll be calling a meeting in the next 2 weeks. All right. Economic vitality is just, we keep these separate. So for those know, we have 4 major focus areas. And right now, if you have seen the Maestro program that came your way, we all got our sign-ons and hopefully you updated your password. You can now see the building inventory that Jay has put in and how useful that app is going to be. So if you have any questions with that, or if you want to talk to Jay about it, we continue to data input, right? You do, not me. All right. So, any questions on that? All right, we'll move on to design. Jerry, you have we have a sign that we missed last time, and it was in my email, but so feel bad, but we got to act on it now. Oh, okay.
So this is approved by the times on the one building. It's recommended for.
So Jeff and I will see this sign every day, pretty much. Any questions? Any comments? I'll entertain a motion to approve this sign, 111 East Maumee Street.
Support. Sorry.
Motion and support. Any further discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. Just quick information is that the city and Jeremiah looks at the the square inches or the size of it and make sure it's all within the guideline, the code. Yes, sorry, thank you. And then we are responsible for looking at it from an aesthetic standpoint, and does it match our overall downtown themes and what we're trying to get some sort of continuity and the like. Jeff.
One thing, like, one East Maumee is actually Parks Cuts.
Oh,
If their
all
application.
right, it's just that. What is what's the address?
Everybody have the application.
Hooligan starts at 113. So I don't
Thank
know
you,
what
Jeff.
time.
Thanks, Jeff.
Want the record to reflect. As soon as we get the address, we'll have a friendly amendment.
According to Google, it's 113.
They have 111 on the application. They have 111 on the application.
Like a catering business. Catering.
I think it's fine though. We can make it 113, even though the application may be faulty. So can I have an updated? Okay. Yeah, all right. Who supported that? Brad, you're okay with that? Good. All right, all those in favor of the amended indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same. All right, thank you, Jerry. Tim Robinson, what's going on in Lenawee now?
Good morning. I would like to ask if I could have the hot chocolate concession at the dip, the polar dip thing going down.
You want to?
You're not jumping in. Come on, Tim.
Thanks,
that?
Tim.
No. No, unless we can consume alcohol before we go in the water. That's the only way I'm going. Okay, there's a couple things going on. Dusty talked about it at the last meeting, several of the previous meetings, the tunnel, the Kiwanis Tunnel going under South 52, and the blight elimination rejuvenation grant that we're working with the city on, working through technical details with the feds, the HUD, the state, button up those contracts, hopefully this month on both of those, and start moving forward with them. Because those will be huge deals, especially for the downtown with the revitalization grant. Other things going on, at least in this month, mostly with our talent initiative, we created a collaborative cluster of chemical companies a couple of years ago, since we have so many of them in Lenawee County. And they've engaged a program called You Be the Chemist. So it's going to be an affinity program going into 3rd and 5th grade schools or classes. I think they're starting with Adrian Public Schools, and they've got a handful of other districts involved now. But just an affinity program to expose the 3rd and 5th graders to the chemical industry, jobs, skills, etc. And then Junior Achievement has the CEO Challenge this month, where they bring high school teams together, high school kids teams together. They create a product or a service idea. They do a business plan. They present. I think January 25th is the first meeting. They do an initial presentation on their idea. Then they work with mentors, and we're participating in that whole program. Mentors help them flush that out. And then there's I think in March will be the competition in Jackson, and whichever teams win in Jackson will go to the state, and then you go to the nationals. So I think the second time that Lenawee County's been actively involved in this. Jackson's been doing a lot, but we finally got our act together, I think, here in Lenawee, because this is a really cool program. I've been on the judge panel several years when we go up to Jackson to do it, and it's amazing what these kids come up with. Just absolutely amazing. But again, trying to help build the entrepreneurs of tomorrow. Some of our other collaboratives, the auto dealership dealership collaboratives, mostly aimed at auto technician education and certification. They've got some cool stuff going on. And our winery collaborative. I don't think we have any in downtown in Adrian anyway, but we got 7 or 8 of them in the county working with Visit Lenawee to do a wine tourist a trail, there we go, redo the wine trail. And they're actually working on an apprenticeship program as well for winemakers. So lots of very cool stuff going on. If there's any questions for me, happy to answer them. And no, I'm not jumping in the pool.
Any questions for Tim? Tim, thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any other DDA matters that need to be brought up at this time? All right, this is the point where we go to public comment. And is there anybody from the public that would like to address this board? We know controversy is down right now, so that's why we don't have so much public comment. All right, it doesn't appear we have any public comment. I want to let you guys know that on May 20th, this is a personal little push here, but I think it does affect this board, but the Tecumseh Connection Trail Extension for Kiwanis has been complete. If you haven't seen it, it was the last mile and a quarter, mile and a half that needed to be paved. There'll be some landscaping done throughout the time. There's also signage going in, pointing in different directions. So they'll be color coded to the entire trail that's happening. We've already approved it. It'll be started by Insignia soon. Why I may mention that is it's a connection from Tecumseh's downtown to our downtown. And I think there are some events that can come from that, some creative events that might be able to come from that, as we can make it's about 9.5 miles, to make it one way or the other. We're still getting the details on that, but Kelsey Park on their side is going to have a trailhead. And so in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, there's some great things that we could do together to really promote both downtowns. So in the spirit of collaboration, May 20th, we're having the grand opening at Kelsey Park. So please have that. It's a Saturday morning. We'll get you more details as we come forward. There's going to be 5K, 10K races and a number of things that are going to happen that day for fundraising opportunities for the Kiwanis Regional Trail Authority. But I do think it impacts our downtown and want to see if you're thinking about ideas like that, let us know at the Kiwanis Regional Trail Authority. We'd love to have more and more events that celebrate that great jewel in our community. Other board comments? All right, our next, what is this? Our next meeting is February 8th. And first Friday is February 3rd. Any other comments? All right, we're adjourned. Thank you.